Hi, I'm Jamie Ewing, and it's a privilege to have been nominated to serve on your vestry here at Grace. I'm a native Charlestonian. I grew up a few blocks that way in Anson Borough, and after 25 years in the Northeast, I came back here with my family, and we now live a few blocks that way in Harleston Village. I am a cradle Episcopalian, and I had the good fortune over the course of my life of seeing a number of different congregations close up. I grew up that way at St. Philip's Church, where I was baptized, confirmed, and served as an acolyte for many years. I graduated from Porter Dowd, also that way, where I served on the student vestry, and then I went up to Yale for college, where I was an active member of the student Episcopal congregation and served on the congregational council. Later on, Sarah and I were married at Trinity Wall Street while living in New York, and we were members of Trinity in Boston, where our children were baptized before we moved back home in 2020. After college, I sort of embraced my inner Charlestonian, and I went to London to complete a History of Architecture Master's at the Courtauld Institute, and then came to the US to commence my professional career. I've long been a passionate sailor, and thanks to that I was fortunate also to find myself with a side hustle as a researcher and boat captain for the late author and pundit William F. Buckley Jr., and somehow we still own the boat Petito, which is for sale if anybody wants it. Sarah and I met in New York City, where I was working in finance at the time, and still am, and she had just completed a journalism degree. We were married in 2011 and promptly moved to Boston, where Sarah returned to medical school, completing her MD and residency at Tufts, and where our children were born. In Boston, we lived in Beacon Hill, where again my inner Charlestonian busted out, and I was a member and eventual co-chair of the Architectural Committee of the Beacon Hill Civic Association, and served as a director in that volunteer organization as well. In 2020, Sarah had the opportunity to come to Charleston for a fellowship at MUSC, and we returned with Walker, who was 6 at the time, and Jay, who was 2 at the time, settling just a few blocks from here. Grace was where we found ourselves as a natural fit. We quickly fell in love with the energy, the positivity, and the music from the congregation and the clergy and the staff, and just found this a really warm and embracing, wonderful place. The music program has been a huge plus for us. Walker has been in the choir, and inadvertently our neighbor is our new choir master, Nick, so we get a lovely extra exposure there. I'm still with the private investment firm CoVision in New York that I've been for over a decade. I've always been partially remote and still am. Sarah has joined Trident Anesthesia as an anesthesiologist in the past year. As I mentioned, my go-to excuse for missing church on Sundays is sailing, and my family kindly indulges me on cruises and racing. It's also been a huge volunteer source for me. For the past decade, I've been the co-chair of the Yale Sailing Alumni Association, and I continue to volunteer within the sport. As I mentioned, we as a family have really loved growing within Grace. Walker's in the junior choir. She and Jay are regular Sunday school attendees, and you'll often find us at the 9 a.m. service on the St. Andrew's side, this way. Had to go that way, I've done every other direction. Not seemingly because of our Scottish heritage, but really mostly out of habit, because at Trinity Boston, most families sat to the nave left where the children's services were exiting. I'm truly honored to be able to deepen our family's connection and love of this church and serve this wonderful community and as fit on the vestry. Thank you.